Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy, Tuesday now, September the 20th, as we are getting ready for week number 4 in college football. And we got a few games on tap for you here today that are going to be intriguing, including an early matchup here this week. And we're going to do it, of course, with 3 of the finest at WagerTalk.com as we welcome in Steve Merril in the house. That's 2 R's, 1 L. We got Dave Cokin here, and of course, Mr. Rice himself joining us. Bryan Power, always a pleasure to see him. And Merril continuing to light up the windows there. Congratulations, another profitable weekend coming at you. And I know you've got something ready already here to start the week off. So tell us what we're missing right now at WagerTalk.com with you. Yeah, that would be good, Merril, if you took it off of mute. That would be fantastic. So we'll get to you in 1 second there, Merril. You got it. Snap, snap. Dave Cokin, however.
That's on my end, guys. I'll be right back.
Oh, no problem. You take care.
I've got no audio. I think we've got video. We've got video. We've got volume, but I've got no audio, buddy. So I'll be right back. I'm going to switch out the earpiece. It's on my end.
Us. Dave Cokin in the house here. Dave, talk to me here, my friend. What do you got going on?
Well, it's rather clear that the technically savvy people like myself never have any of these problems. So anyway, I gave out a 5%, my first 5% football play of this season, sent it out Sunday night to all my all-access guys because I knew that was going to be the best number. Had it up as a $9 selection for about 2 hours on Monday morning, and by that time, the line had gone nuts on the game, so I pulled the package down. This is why you get the all-access. Mm-hmm. You're going to get the games before anybody else, and you won't get shut out. I mean, I could have done a lot more sales, I guess, but I felt the line parameters had been exceeded, so that's the way that goes. I've got 2 college football games as of now. There'll be a few more. It's not going to be a huge card this week. NFL's off to a very good start, 6-2. So I'm relatively happy, and we'll see what happens this weekend.
Yes, and I know, and I was reminded earlier, Dave, just about 3 weeks away from the start of the NHL season, and of course, nobody more profitable than Dave Cokin there as well. So it's a good time of year, guys, but he's absolutely correct. The all-access package is the way to go. And Bryan Power, welcome back in, man. You just love abuse. You keep coming back, my friend. Always good to see you here on a Tuesday. So tell us, what do we got locked and loaded, ready to go at WagerTalk.com for this week?
Well, as long as you guys keep having me, I'll keep coming on the program. But I'll tell you what, the way Saturday's big game went, I don't know, maybe I'm pushing my luck. For about 5 seconds there, I thought I got the biggest win or the biggest steal of my life with Notre Dame returning that for 3 seconds was a fumble. Oh. And I looked at my wife. I said, my God, I'll buy you that pony, right now, if they count this as a touchdown. And they didn't. And so no pony for the wife and no win for me. That was very disappointing on a disappointing Saturday. NFL was off to a solid start until last night. So we're dusting ourselves off. Got a 4-pack of MLB up right now for tonight. Really like tonight's MLB card. And we will start rolling out the football plays probably as soon as we're done here.
All right. Well, we're going to start rolling them out too here, gentlemen, as we all wave to Steve Merril. A little stiff here, but it's all right. We'll get him back. How about we start on a Thursday night game? We got a couple of Thursday, couple of Friday games this week here, guys. Keep that in mind. We're going to head with Virginia Tech taking on, West Virginia here. And boy, oh boy, this should be fun. 2-1, the Hokies. Answered with that 20-17 road loss to Old Dominion with a pretty good couple of good wins there to get back on track. They are a dog in this one, West Virginia opened up as a slight favorite here, Dave. 52 is the opening total. What do you think about the Hokies taking on the Mountaineers?
Well, Virginia Tech's going to have to win with defense because their offense just isn't very good. The flip side is I am very reluctant to play on coaches who I think are on the hot seat. Now, I've made good money so far betting against the now deposed Scott Frost. Jeff Collins, incredibly, is still the head coach at Georgia Tech. That's good. And, yeah, I'm playing against them this week. Carl Durrell, Herm Edwards. Herm Edwards is gone now. Neil Brown's not at that level of hot-seatedness, but he's close. I think the natives in Morgantown aren't real happy with the way the program is going under Neil Brown. So this is kind of – they need to win games like this, and I don't trust him. JT Daniels, look, the guy was a massive recruit to USC, and he had a lot of injury issues, and he's just not the quarterback he was coming out of high school. He's given up 2 pick sixes already this season. The Virginia Tech quarterback situation isn't great. I think this is a rock fight between two teams that need to win with defense. And I think what you're going to get here is, to me, 52 was a very high number to me in this game. I think the way this game is going to play out is you're going to see both teams trying to establish the run and not take many chances offensively. So I almost never play over and unders because I'm really not that good at them. But if I were to play this game, I think under would be the way I'd go.
Yeah, it's been a little it's been a go for it here. Not a lot of offense there, Brian Power, for Va-Tech here. They've been known as a defensive program over the years, but Dave's got a point. Are we getting to 50 some odd points in this game?
Well, looking at the total, it's pretty interesting. You got one team 3-0 to the over, another one 3-0 to the under. As far as that Hokies defense goes, they're allowing less than 200 yards per game defensively. I think you do have to take into account who they've played to some degree. And the matchup, I guess, depends who you like more, the West Virginia offense or the Virginia Tech defense. Not sure what it says about the team from Blacksburg that they're getting points at home against a WVU team that, Dave pointed out, the program's not in peak form exactly. 1-2 straight up. That lone win came against an FCS team. What's interesting, though, is both teams probably feel that they should have won in all their losses. West Virginia outgained their opponents in both losses. They were leading Pitt on the road before one of those pick sixes Dave mentioned, and they were the game against Kansas. Losing at home to Kansas is never good, but that was an overtime game. And I had Old Dominion against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech should have won that game. It totally swung on a errant punt snap right before the half. Virginia Tech had the edge in total yards there. Revenge spot for the Hokies. They lost in Morgantown last year by 6. I think that was decided on a goal line stand, if I remember correctly. I think I had that game and won it. But got some bad news for Virginia Tech fans. 1-10 against the number, their last 11 off a straight-up win. And they're just 11-9 their last 20 home games against Power 5 conference opponents. Virginia Tech, it's tempting as a home dog, but I don't know. I like the other Thursday game a lot more. I know I'm going to be laying off this one, to be honest. I said a lot for a game that I'm not going to play, but that's where we're at.
No, I mean, no shit. You were just rolling there, and then you were absolutely fantastic with it. But, hey, it's just as important to know what the hell you ain't playing as opposed to what you want to play. Steve Merril.
He's back.
Look, you're back. I mean, did Dave Cokin help you with all the technical issues?
Yeah,
no?
See, this is, I'll tell you what happened. See, you should have known this was going to happen because before the show starts, Steve's using a flip phone.
I know.
Okay.
It's like the only time I've ever been on the phone before the show starts. If you had the over-under at 1,239 shows before I finally had problems and you cashed,
I can't.
This phone didn't work, the old BlackBerry, the old flip phone case here. the pager almost worked, and then I finally got through, and I was so mad I just smashed the other phone and just broke it apart. But I'm good to go, guys. We're ready to roll.
All right, Merril,
The seventh option worked.
Jump in.
Thought he was going to bust out a rotary phone.
No, he can't find where to put the quarter in. Dave, help us out here, Merril. Virginia Tech, West Virginia. Tell us what you think of this matchup on Thursday.
I'll show you where to stick that quarter, Joe Ranieri. But all seriousness, here, the battle of the West Virginia, the border war right here from my home state. Hey, look, Hokies are down a notch this year, no question about it. We talked about this game actually I was doing the Friday night show, Joe, with the Shady Five and company there, Morency and those guys a few weeks ago, and that's when Old Dominion hosted Virginia Tech. And I remember saying that, look, I'm 45 minutes from Norfolk. That was one of the biggest, maybe the biggest game they'd ever had at ODU, and was not surprised to see Old Dominion get them there. And I think because of that, Virginia Tech's been a little bit underrated now the last 2 weeks. So they had a nice 27-10 win over Boston College. Can't read anything to Wofford last week. And keep in mind, they were a 39-point favorite. It's always a red flag when a team doesn't even score the point spread. They only put up 27. So I do think because of that ODU loss, Virginia Tech's a little maybe underrated. Two bad teams here. I'll lean under as of now. It's gone from 53 down to 52.
Yeah, no, it seems to be the key here. The total in that game may be the best place to look, but we'll move on to game number 2 here as we head to a little conference play in the Big Ten. Maryland taking on Michigan. Michigan opens up just a little more than a 2-touchdown favorite in this one, 65.5 here, and I'm not really quite sure. Is Michigan done beating up the Sisters of the Blind here, Dave? What do you think they're going to do to Maryland at this point?
I would think Michigan has a pretty good chance to crush them because, well, obviously they're vastly superior on both sides of the ball. Not that Maryland's an awful football team, but Michigan's really good. They've got lethal guys on offense and defense. And Jim Harbaugh seems to have figured out that it's kind of important to impress the guys who cast the votes and the selection committee. And you do that by, you don't want to have games against Maryland and that type that end up, 24-20 or something like that. The committee looks at margins and they get impressed by them. Michigan killed this team last year. I think Maryland has some capabilities, but not at this level. To me, it looks like a rerun of last year's game, which was a blowout, and I think you're going to get another one here. I would not be surprised to see Michigan win this game by 4 touchdowns, and I think the Wolverines are the only side I can play.
Wolverines, it's a good spot for them here. Brian Power, and Harbaugh's done a pretty good job over his career coming into conference play, coming out of a non-conference schedule. What do you think? Michigan has got in store for Maryland this weekend?
Well, I don't know what we know about Michigan just yet. We know they're good. We know that they returned 13 starters from a team that went to the college football playoff. But those 3 wins that we've referenced to start the year, combined score 166-17. They've come against 3 of the 10 worst teams in the country: Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. You're not going to find 3 easier games to open your 2020 season for anybody. But Michigan has dominated Maryland for years, not just last year. Dave brought up the blowout 2021. Michigan's 6-0, not just straight up, but against the number against Maryland last 6 meetings. So they've had their number. Didn't know a lot about Maryland either. They came from behind to beat SMU last week. That was kind of a nice win. They trailed most of the way, gave up 520 yards, which probably not a good sign for here. Cade McNamara getting hurt late for Michigan last week. I don't think that's a big deal. McCarthy was getting most of the snaps anyway. I can't believe, by the way, Alan Bowman is still in college. That shocked me when I read that. It seemed like I graduated high school the same year he did. But this is probably a lay the points or pass situation because, if you take the points, you want to have some belief that your team's going to win. And Maryland, no chance that they're going to win here. It's interesting, though. Michigan is, not surprisingly, a very public favorite here, and that number's not really moving. I think the number might have moved from 17 to 16.5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, which is interesting to know. So if you like Michigan, I don't know, maybe bet them right now, I guess. But they are the right side, you've got to figure.
Well, quick note, Circa opened, and this is the one thing that'll keep it from actually being on my card. Circa opened Michigan 20.
Yeah.
And it's gotten down to 16. So they took some sharp action on Maryland. I'm just not buying the Terrapins, but I could well be wrong.
It's interesting. What do you think, Merril, here about that opening number, where we're at now? Are we Michigan not getting that, elite tax that you sometimes pay on the Alabamas and the Georgias, et cetera, here? Any value here for you?
Well, Bryan brought up an interesting point. If you don't think Maryland can win the game, then, I don't like the back dogs that I'm hoping can just get the cover, stay within the spread, and especially against a coach like Harbaugh who does like to run it up. So if you don't think Maryland can win the game outright, I'd be leery just taking the 2 touchdowns here against Michigan. Put in perspective how weak their schedule has been this year. They've been a combined 133-point favorite in the first 3 games of the season. So, it's just they haven't faced anybody. They've been over a 47-point favorite in each of the last 2 games alone. With that said, though, that doesn't mean they're not a good team. Their offense has put up 51 or more in all 3 games. They're very explosive. But what jumps out to me here is their defense was the big question mark coming into the season. In fact, if you look at Mark Lawrence's experience ranking, they were 124th least experienced defense, I guess is how you could best say it, coming in this season with just 4 returning starters. So I do think we'll see some points here. I definitely would not talk you off and over. Maryland's put up 31 or more in all 3. As I mentioned, Michigan, 51 or more in all 3 of their games. And once again, another reason it's tough to back the dog here, even if there's been some sharp money, is you mentioned that the recent series, they have crushed Maryland, and they've been basically in the last 3 meetings over the last 5 years or so, they've been a 15, 17, 16-point favorite in each of those 3 games. So it's right in this price range as well. In fact, last year on the road, they were closed as a 16-point road favorite. Now they're only a 16.5-point home favorite, and they won that game 59-18. So even though I do think the Michigan defense is weaker this year, are they really 41 points weaker than last year's win? So I think Michigan and the over would be the way to play it.
All right, liking some points, Michigan and the over. And I believe McNamara got hurt in that game. So all of a sudden they went from having 2 quarterbacks, Dave, to now they got 1. And fingers crossed.
Yeah.
One
they don't want McNamara's the backup at this point.
Right, exactly.
McCarthy's the starter.
And he deserves to be for sure, guys.
Yeah.
We got one more game for you here. We're going to break down. Quick reminder, though. Dave mentioned it earlier. Now would be the time for you to hop on over to WagerTalk.com. Visit all 3 of these guys, Steve Merril, Dave Cokin, Bryan Power. Take advantage of these all-access packages, guys. Get them all. 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages. Never miss a play. More importantly, get the best of the number. Get a jump on the number before the rest of the market does. Hop on those all-access packages as we hop on over to Iowa State taking on Baylor. Intriguing line opening here for a few Baylor grads that I know. Still screaming and crying about it. Iowa State 2.5. 2s. We're seeing the total 46 here as an open. This is going to be a noon Eastern time kick. Dave, what do you think? Are you in agreement with the number here with Iowa State at home?
So last week there were 2 games where, and I like the Circa openers because I think they've got their rooms are strong there. Okay, they've got some of the best odds makers in the business. And there were 2 games last week when they opened the road team as the favorite, and the home team eventually became the favorite. One was Purdue-Syracuse, which the market got right, but they shouldn't have, because Purdue should have won that football game. The other was UNLV North Texas, or North Texas UNLV more properly. And UNLV was impressive. The market definitely got that one right. This game falls under that category this week. Baylor was 2 on the Circa Sunday number, and now Iowa State has gone to 2.5. I have a tendency to trust the odds makers if I think they're a sharp book. I'll trust the odds makers more than the market. So that's point 1 on Baylor. Point 2 is they fit the stat profile of teams I like to back as underdogs. Now I don't know if I'm going to get there with this one yet. I want to break it down a little bit more, but I like underdogs that are very good running the ball and are very good defending the run. And Baylor does fit that category. Iowa State does too, by the way. This is one of the best games on the Saturday board. As of now, I'm leaning Baylor for the reasons I described, but I don't know that I'll bet it. However, if I do bet it, that's the only way I'm playing.
All right, good stuff here. We've got, pretty much 2.5 points, 2 in some places here. What do you think, Brian Power? You leaning one way or the other with this matchup?
Yeah, I am. I'll get to that in a second. It's interesting also to look back and compare to the card from last Saturday. We had just the one unranked team at home favored against the top 25. That was Washington, and they blew out Michigan State.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got that situation again here where we've got unranked team at home laying a short number to a top 25 team. Iowa State typically overachieves for Matt Campbell. Last year was kind of an exception to his tenure. They started the year in the top 10 and finished just 7-6. I think this year's team is going to more closely resemble what we saw the 4 years before that, even though, they lost a ton of talent, obviously, from last year, the quarterback and the running back. Cyclones off to the 3-0 start. They've only been beaten. This was interesting. They've been beaten by more than 14 points just twice in the last 67 games. So they always keep it close. Generally now, they lose by 10. That's not going to do you any good here if you take them. But Baylor, they were a top 10 team as of 2 weeks ago, lost that double OT game at BYU, rebounded, crushed terrible Texas State, 42-7. So the way I look at this is Matt Campbell, he's been, despite losing last year's game to Baylor as a favorite, he has won 17 of 22 in the chalk roll. He's covered 4 straight conference openers. Baylor, 8-4 against the number last 12 as a dog. They've covered 4 straight times versus Iowa State. Each time getting points, and they've taken the game outright twice. So a lot of trends kind of going against each other here. History of close meetings for the last 5 decided by 10 points or less. Iowa State was a 7-point favorite in Waco last year and lost on a missed 2-point try. When I see an unranked team, even though it's the result of a move, it wasn't how they were open, I kind of jump on the unranked favorite against a top 25 team. I think that's quite a statement. So I actually lean Cyclones in this situation.
All right, likes Matt Campbell on the Cyclones. What do you think, Merril? You leaning one way or the other in what should be a pretty good game?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's sitting at 2.5, and like Dave said, it did open as low as pick in some locations. I'm seeing some of the sharper offshores, even 2.5 minus 115, internationally here. So I would say if you like Baylor, I would hold off, try to find a +3. You might see it by this weekend. If you like Iowa State, you probably want to go ahead and play the minus 2.5 or not now, because I think there's definitely some risk it might hit that key number of 3. Let's look back at the only real test for Iowa State this year, and that was back in week 2 on September 10th when they won outright as a field goal underdog at Iowa, low-scoring 10-7 game. But that's a pretty impressive win for me because if you look at the experience rankings coming in this season, Iowa State was one of the least experienced teams on both sides of the ball in the entire nation, the 120 range, both offense and defense. Iowa was actually top 30 experience overall. So that was a good test for them, a good win on the road. I think you could definitely make a case at home here. They're probably the preferred side. And keep in mind, Baylor was definitely in a bit of a flat spot last week. They won the game 42-7 as a 30-point favorite against Texas State, but they had a 3-1 turnover deficit, which is understandable because they lost that double OT game to BYU, that high-profile late Saturday night game in week 2, 26-20. So I give them a little bit of a pass for the sloppy performance. I think both teams probably play better this week. As of now, I'm kind of neutral in this game, but I do think if you like Iowa State, grab the 2.5 now. If you like Baylor, wait. You might get a +3.
It might eventually get there. All right, guys, there you go. 3 games here. Time to take a look here and see which one of these, if any, these guys may lean a little bit more to. And Dave, I'll come to you. Kick us off here. Which game are you looking at for us?
Torn between Michigan and Baylor, and as of now, I'm not playing. I'm doing this show again tomorrow,
Yep.
And so watch tomorrow. I will try and make sure that I have a best bet that's actually a selection. In fact, I guarantee it will be because I'm recording my free plays tomorrow, and those are always actual selections. I guess I'll go Michigan. I don't like the reverse line movement, which does scare me, but I still don't think Maryland can match up with them for 60 minutes. So I'll take Michigan reluctantly as the best bet of the show. Make sure and watch tomorrow.
Yeah, and guys, make sure you head over to Dave's page throughout the week there. Grab that all-access package, but also, like he said, his free play videos will be up. Always great information all week long there at WagerTalk.com. All right, Bryan Power, you are up, my friend. Which one of these or any game might you be leaning towards a little more than the rest?
All right, we're going to go to a different game, and earlier in the program, I mentioned that I don't really like taking underdogs unless if I think they have a chance to win the game. Let's violate that rule 10 minutes later.
Okay.
What do you say? This one's for you, Joe.
Okay.
How about Northern Illinois getting 25.5 at Kentucky?
Woo!
I've got a ton of respect for the job Mark Stoops has done in Lexington, but does anyone really think Kentucky's the number 8 team in the country? I do not. Top 25 for sure, not top 8. I'll give the Wildcats some credit for being 3-0 straight up and against the number. They got that nice win at Florida. But of the 16 3-0 against the number teams we've got left, they have the third lowest cover margin. And there have been slow starts for this team. Every game, it was only 13-10 at half in the opener against Miami, Ohio. There were 2 big plays early in the second half, including a kick return for a touchdown that broke that open against Florida. Wildcats were down 16-7 before an interception led to a TD right before the half. And then even last week against FCS Youngstown State, game was scoreless in the first quarter. So it's been a slow start for Stoops' team. And then we turn to Northern Illinois. They were favored to beat Vandy last week. That is a very rare instance of a MAC team laying points to an SEC squad. They failed to get the job done, but they were up by 2 touchdowns early in the second half. So it might be worth something. The previous week against Tulsa, they lost in the final minute. So you can make a case that they should have won one of those games at least. And then you throw in the fact Kentucky's got a giant look ahead to Ole Miss next week on the road. I'm taking the points here. You can get 25.5 at most places. I even saw plus 26. So give me the Huskies of Northern Illinois in Lexington.
Not buying Kentucky being that top 10 team here. Merril, what do you think? And also tell us, while you're letting us know your favorite bet here, let us know what else you got going on at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, first off, Tuesday night baseball best bet right now. You know, football's been fantastic, but baseball's been over 80% for the past week. Don't forget about MLB, Major League Baseball. It's still just as green as football right now. And on a 16-3, 84% all sports run the past week plus for me on football and baseball combined. We had another huge NFL week. And don't forget about the videos. I know many of you watch the college football top 25 video each week and the NFL Fade the Public. NFL Fade the Public was 6-0 this week. 2-1 last week, so now 8-1 the first 2 weeks, fading those most public plays that I give you for free here on Wager Talk TV every Saturday heading into NFL Sundays. Check out those videos later in the week. In the meantime, a little advanced college football. It's early, it's Tuesday here, but a game I am looking at is Michigan minus the 16.5. Michigan over Maryland. They've dominated this series over recent years. They've been exactly the last 3 times they've played about a 15, 16, 17-point favorite in all 3 of those games. They've won and covered. Including last year, they blew them out by 41 points on the road as a 16-point favorite. Now they're only a 16.5-point home favorite. They haven't been tested yet. They've been a combined 133-point favorite in their first 3 games. But, hey, look, they've done what they've had to do. They've put up 51 points or more in all 3 of those. Maryland was taken down to the wire against SMU, a team that's not as good as Michigan last week, and now they're traveling without rest. I think this sets up well for Michigan, and Harbaugh is not the type of guy to take his foot off the gas, especially against a conference opponent here. He's going to make a statement in the first true Big Ten game of the season. Michigan minus 16.5 is the only way I would play this one on Saturday.
All right, there you go here, guys. One more time. Bryan Power, Northern Illinois, take the 25.5 against Kentucky. Merril, he's going Michigan 16.5 against Maryland. Dave is leaning that way, but stay tuned, guys. Best bets coming all week long from Dave Cokin, including tomorrow here on the show, but make sure you head over to WagerTalk.com. Keep an eye on those odds, the free odds page, the live odds page there at WagerTalk.com. Yes, it's free. And don't be surprised by any market movement, guys. Make sure you take a look at there while you're also visiting Dave Cokin, Bryan Power, and Steve Merril. Hop on those all-access packages, guys. Now is the time to do it on this Tuesday. And, of course, download the app. And those of you on YouTube, hit that bell and hit the subscribe button and make plans to come back and join us again tomorrow for more college football kickoff. Until then, on behalf of Dave, Bryan, and Steve, guys, Best of luck with your plays this week. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.